started this project. Found a piece of brass he's gonna take. Alright everyone. Alright guys, we're back working on the 55 again today, and I want to start this video off. We talked about it a little bit last week, maybe breaking out the scales and talking about the difference in weight between the steel can that was in the car back in the 90s to the titanium can that we have now. I found this thing on eBay years ago now. But anyway, so we've got the scales out here. We've got the steel can here. You can see it's been sitting there on the shelf for a while. Anyway, but we've got the scales here. Turn it on, we're at 0. Alright, what we got? Go ahead. $37.6. Now that's just the bell housing. We pulled the liner out. The liner's over there. No clutch fork, no inspection covers, no nothing. That's just the bell housing itself. Now if we get the titanium one, again, same deal. No liner in it, no nothing. It's just the bell housing itself. 19.2. So in one part we were able to shave 18 pounds off of this. We've talked about it. The Lenco is going to be significantly heavier than the Power Glide, so we had to make sure we compensated for that as much as we could. And to be able to shave 18 pounds off in one part is really important to do that. And it's just, I don't know, just kind of cool to know that stuff, kind of the difference in what we've done, what we used to have versus what we have now. All right, let's get to work. This week, the big thing that we want to try and get done is get the inner fenders back here in the back, the tubs. We want to get those attached to the rear quarters. So this is kind of something that we've been thinking about for a while and kind of how we're going to do it. When you look at that, so this inner fender has a curve like this, and it also has to make the curve of the tub itself. These tubs were built by Dad and Fred down in Greensboro. Fred was really adamant on building these tubs for whatever reason. So anyway, they did that. And so now, like I said, we have to get it attached somehow. So what we're going to end up doing here, we're going to make some L brackets that go, some L angles. They go down the length of the quarter panel and then come out here to a certain distance, about 1 inch. Then we're going to build some covers that will go like this, go where my hand is. They're going to go up this panel, across this panel, and then there'll be another piece back here in the back as well. But basically this is going to end up being kind of a 3-piece deal here, 2-piece deal back here in the back. There'll be an L bracket here, L bracket here, and then 1-piece panel that's going to cover up both of these right there. So that's kind of the plan here on what we're going to do and how we're going to close this off. After doing a little bit of experimenting with our shrinker, we decided to make the angle here 1 inch by 1 inch. That's going to give us full throat on the shrinker, so we can go all the way in, give us a good radius to meet with the quarter panel. I'm good. Right, you can see there. Now we've got our angle brackets. These angle pieces, and those are what's gonna go in here. And I'll go in here and show you before we start stretching on them. So you can see these go like this. Now that's what the stretchers are gonna come into. That's what I haven't done a lot of this style work. So that's what this is going to come into, is Dad's going to use the shrinker and stretcher, depending on shrinker here, and he's going to be able to match that radius that's here, that you can see that big gap here. He's going to be able to match that radius on the quarter and get this thing to lay in here flat. So we've just been going back and forth on this piece. I've been taking it in here, marking it where we need some more. Dad's shrinking it, I'm taking it back in. So I'll show you guys quickly. We get this out, you can see how much just that we've already done onto this angle here using this. So that's pretty cool. So if we slide back in here, see that's going to sit somewhere about right there. And you can see how closely that's already fitting. You can see after a little bit of work here, got that fitting in there really well. I've just got this held here just lightly. You can see there's no gap here. We got the light back here behind it so you can see anything. No gap there. That fits there really well. I'm having to work and get this in my head, kind of how it works. It's coming together for sure. Maybe I think the next one will be a little bit faster. I'll be a little quicker on coming onto it. But anyway, we got this raised up here. Then what we're gonna do is we'll have another piece that comes off of this one that extends over to here, and that's what we're gonna actually rivet, eventually rip Cleco and then rivet to the inner fender and hold it in place there. But this right here was for that structure, so we can get that there, get this attached to the quarter panel that way. So there we go. We've got this piece in on this length of the quarter panel, so you can see that radius in the piece. You can see that radius there we already had done, and that's where these are going to live basically. What we're going to do, you can see here, there's overlap between this panel here and the corner. We're going to cut that corner off because there'll be another piece that goes here. You can see where my hand is. That's going to come straight up and basically be one piece on the other side. It's going to come up here, loop up, and come up to there. So that'll be one piece covering all of this, and then we'll do it again over here that way. But you can see that works, and I told you guys I was going to tell you what we were planning to do to clamp this for, since we don't really have clamps to get in here and hold this because it's such a big space between here to there to clamp it. So I was thinking about it, and then Dad kind of finalized it the other day. I had been using for my regular work, I had been looking into some magnets to do some like really high powered magnets to do some mounting of some stuff. And you can see right here, this is what we have holding those on the outside. We've got two for each piece. These really high strength, these are like 150 pound magnets on the outside of here, and that's all that's holding this in. So that's able to clamp this piece, and you can watch it when you put these on the outside. It does physically pull this piece to the quarter panel. So it's going to work perfect when we put the adhesive in there as well, but it's also working really good for mock-up. I wasn't even thinking until we got here, and then we started to try and kind of mock this up and see how these pieces are going to work together. It's going to work really, really well. They're doing super good. And I got the ones that have the hooks on them, so they're a little bit easier to remove because, like I said, these things are super high strength. But really good idea. It's working like we wanted it to. So now we started working, we have been working, I should say, on this piece that's going to go right here on the back side of this tub. This one's extra complicated because it has the radius of the quarter and also the radius of the tub. So we're having to shrink it on the quarter side to match the tub, and then on the tub side to match the quarter. So you kind of have to work on it. So I got it pretty close, and now Dad's putting the last piece of it into it.
Maybe.
Well, we're trying to put the last piece into it. I don't know how many people have seen a shrinker and a stretcher, which is what that one is over there. I mean, what it's doing there, every time he mashes that handle down, it's literally biting into the metal, and you can see the marks, and it's causing the metal to shrink. It pinches the metal in, basically, and you do that a bunch across it, and it makes a radius. So on a piece of angle like this, you shrink this side to cause the radius here. So you have to kind of think, especially with this doing both, you have to think about which side you're stretching or you're shrinking, or you'll do it wrong. So you can see that there. So it's got a radius in it this direction and a radius in it this direction. So it's kind of got compound radiuses everywhere. So yeah, that's why this one's been a little bit more complicated. So this piece is now in place here. It's definitely not 100% done. It needs actually a little bit more radius put in right in this area. And you can't see it on the back side. Or actually, you might be able to see it on the back side. You can see right there, kind of needs a little bit more radius in it to fit that quarter just a little better. But in general, it's very close, and it matches the tub angle very closely. This is kind of, the flat here is actually kind of got it a little distorted with all the shrinking when you actually need to push the angle back out. It's come over 90 a little bit. But yeah, you can see that fits really close. That's overlapping up here at the top. We'll do the same thing, mark it and trim it like we're gonna do with these. But man, this was big to get this done today. I think this is kind of one of those jobs that we've kind of been dreading a little, and so we've been putting it off. But now that we're kind of getting started on it, it's kind of starting to work, kind of jiving a little bit better. All right, guys, we're back at it today. What we're doing, you guys saw us making those pieces yesterday. We got the other one on the other side done off camera because I figured you guys are probably tired of seeing us run back and forth anyway. So all 6 pieces are done. So now the piece that we're going to make, or that we're starting to make, is the piece that's going to cover all of this. So this piece is going to come up this, go across this radius, and then run up the tub here. And it's going to lap over the tub, so that's going to keep everything how it needs to be, keep everything sealed off, and then go on those metal angles up there, lay on that as well. So that's what we're going to make next, so that we have those pieces. We can attach these pieces that we're making that are going to lap over onto the tub, onto the angles, and then we can glue the angles in place. So that's what we're doing. The plan is to use some cardboard templates. Of course, we're not going to try and just go straight to metal on this. Dad's got a piece back here that we've already marked 5 inches wide. We're going to use the shear, get a good straight cut on it. There you go. So now the plan will be, and I'm going to show a little bit better example of what this will look like. All the way, it's going to go all the way over here, following the radius of the quarter panel, and then lap out over like that. So it's going to fill that gap up there completely. So there's been a whole lot of arts and crafts, trim, cut, mark, to get us here. But we're thinking this is going to cut right here is going to put us really, really close to what that should look like. All right, so you can see that piece of cardboard in there now. That runs basically in line with that bead right there. You can see it's still a little bit close up there at the top, but I think that's just kind of an illusion of the camera, to be honest with you. And you can see it rolls down here. That piece right there is kind of what we're going to go off of. You can get this radius here matched. It's got the radius down here matched, and we think we can make that out of one piece. And this is going to be a good starting spot. We'll go big off of this, of course, and then kind of cut down the metal to get it to this point so that this will work. But the cool thing is this piece should mirror and work and get us really, really close for over there also. So we got one piece that if we flip it and mirror it, it's going to be really close for the other side too. So it was a whole lot of work for one little piece of cardboard, literal, like probably a couple hours on one piece of cardboard, but it's going to get us, it's going to close up these gaps and get us really far along here. All right, so finally, what feels like forever, we finally got a template that we were happy enough with. We went ahead and got it marked on a piece of metal here. This line right there is where the radius will be, where that break, where it transitions from the bottom panel up to the tub itself. That's just a line of reference for us. Dad's going to take this, get it cut out, because this stuff's thick enough that with 10 snips it'd be a real pain to get that cut out. So we're going to cut it out here on the saw and do it that way. All right, we got it cut out. You guys saw that. Success. So you can see right there. If we can get the camera to lighten up. Come on, lighten up for me. So you can see right there. Boom. That fits really, really well in there. It's not just like perfect, but there's gonna have to be seam sealer in here anyway, just how it is. You can see that lines up with that bead roll bead, lines up super close with that outside with the quarter panel. That's gonna seal that up. Man, we're really happy with it. And the cool thing is we already went ahead and put this piece over there, and that is gonna be way close enough. We'll have to narrow it just a little over there, but that's way close enough to get us started on that piece. So that template did, in fact, work for both sides, which is, of course, what we were really hoping to do. We weren't 100% sure if it was going to work out that way, but sometimes it works out pretty good. So that's cool. This is really nice. That piece, we've kind of dreaded cutting that, man. We did these templates back and forth, did this and that, tried to get it to work. And then once we cut it, it just fell right in place. So that's what it takes sometimes. A little bit of time, effort, doing things 2, 3, 4 times. But then you kind of get what you want right there. That pleasantly reminded me that he made this piece here to actually put bins like that into stuff. So this radius here on this actually turned out to be just a little too small. It's close enough for that piece, but Dad's got another piece here he's going to use. Get us a little bit bigger radius on that for the passenger side. So it's really funny, as long as it took us to make the templates to make the 2 pieces in here, which I'll show you guys those, they turned out super well. We just kind of have them taped in place right now. I can get my camera to, there you go. You can see those fit in there very well. And they fit the contours of the quarter panel extremely well. We're very, very happy with those. As long as it took us to get the template done for those and to get them in, we started to work on the pieces that are going to go in the back here. Having to look over here on the table, and there was this piece laying here, and I thought, no way that that's going to be the right angle, right curve right here. It was a dead perfect match. So all we had to do was basically where this is cut out there, draw a straight line from this corner down to this corner, and that got us right where we needed to be. So because of that, we were able to pretty quickly make these 2 pieces here, and Dad's got one of them over there. You can see that's gonna lap right in there onto the angle that we made a couple days ago. That's gonna get glued to that, overlap on the tub, and then gonna make our connections back here. So it's gonna do the same thing as that front piece, just back here in the back. If I lay that right in there. That curve was, like I said, was a dead perfect match, and that's basically what that's going to end up looking like. Now that we have these made, a little bit more fit and finish on the angle pieces, and we're ready. Man, we're ready to start gluing these things in. I think, we were talking about it, I think the process would probably be glue these 4 pieces that we've made, sheet metal pieces, to the angles, get those good, and then lay them in place. Use the magnets to hold them where we want them, and then glue the angles to the quarter panels. I think that's what will probably make the most sense. That way you make sure that you've got the panels that we made laid flat against the wheel tub, and we make sure we're good there, and then we can adhere everything in. Should be good. Let's see, that's tomorrow, Jake and Mike's problem. Today we're really happy that these panels come together because it was a lot of work. I know it's kind of ridiculous for 4 pieces, but there's a lot of work, quite a bit of time into it, and but at the end of the day, the cool thing is you put that amount of time into it and they turn out really good, and we're really happy with what we've got, and we were worried about that. So anyway, that's a good thing. We'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, so Dad got started on it today, and what we did is we trimmed the overlap that we had on these L brackets in all 3 spots. So you can see there, these now lay, we did a little bit more fit finish work, make sure that these lay really close to flat with this tub so that the panel's gonna, it's a little, push down on this tub for me, Daddy. This tub has a little bit of radius that we're gonna take out of it. But so if you see, when he pushes that radius out, this surface and this surface are basically right in line with each other. So the panels that we made yesterday are gonna lay on these 2 surfaces. Now, the question is, what we're gonna do is we want to rivet this L bracket to the panel, or we want a Cleco or whatever, rivet this L bracket here to the panels we made outside yesterday. So what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna lay the panel in here, mark an outline of the L bracket on here really well, and then put them together, try and drill them, and then put these pieces in. There's gonna be some trial and error with this. We don't really have much room for error, but we're gonna have to kind of figure this out. So that's the plan at this point. We're gonna go in here and mark these L brackets onto the panels, and then see if we can drill some holes in them, and hopefully this will go back together. Then at that point we have the structure ready, and we can go ahead and lay that in here, and with the magnets put adhesive on the L brackets and get them glued into the quarters and have them curing, because they take 24 hours to cure. So we want to go ahead and get that process started if we can. So that's the plan. Having the panels on the L brackets will give us some structure. Let us lay it in here, put the adhesive on it, put the magnets on it, and let it start curing. Okay, you can see we've got the panels in here. We've got them marked. Now that we know where these need to lay exactly, we can pull all three pieces out, clamp them together, drill spots for rivets, and then rivet these three pieces together, and then bring that whole assembly back in here and set it in. And then we are ready to, we can go ahead and mark some holes to, to drill into the tubs and stuff. That's not gonna get riveted right now, but we can go ahead and have that done as well. And then we can commence gluing these pieces wherever they lay. Once that assembly's in, when we're ready to glue it in, we're good. All right, after some drilling, some Clecos. These are in one piece right now and ready to go back into the car. So yeah, that's how it's gonna end up looking. Looks pretty cool. I think it looks neat with the Clecos. I think Clecos are cool. All right, what did they say on the A-Team? I love it when a plan comes together. This has actually turned out to work exactly like we wanted it to. Sometimes you come up with a big plan and you want it to work, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But this is one of the times where it did. We got this put back in place here, and it's great. It's excellent. That plate is laying against the tubs exactly how we want it. This is laying against this vertical panel perfectly. The only thing we do have to do, we have to do a little bit of stretching on the actual angle itself so that that'll lay a little bit more flat against the panel. But this one down here is immaculate. And then outside of that, the other cool thing is if we come here, come right there, you can see how nicely that lays against the quarter panel. It's exactly what we were trying to do there. It's great. So now the big plan will be to get the other side in the same place, probably get both sides the same place. We're gonna do the same thing with these back panels here, the ones that go right here. So we'll do all that, get everything where we need to be, and then we can start deciding on gluing. We'll probably do one side at a time, glue this side, then glue that side. So I'm gonna get it there, then show you guys what we're gonna do with the clamping and the gluing, which is, you guys saw it with the magnets, and then that's probably gonna wrap us up this week. So let's go ahead and get all this in one spot. I'll show you guys all the finished products on all four, and then show the gluing real quick. And that's gonna wrap us up for this week. Should be good. This is, I'm telling you guys, this is one of those things where I wish I could be like, man, this is the most riveting thing ever. No pun intended. But this is just how it is. This is a job that we have had to do to make this work with what we have, right? Again, if we could have went and bought a set of tubs, that would have been amazing. We could have just put them in. We probably would have saved half the time. But we have these tubs. It's what we're using. It's what we've got. It's what we're going to do. Let's get this thing wrapped up. All right, guys, there we go. There's the panel in the back, all the way around. Panels in the front. Both of them fitted very well, and on both sides. So you can see that. That turned out super well. Now the next step on this deal is going to be to glue them. It was my plan to try and glue these things in on this video, but it doesn't really make sense for us today. We're kind of running out of time just a little bit on getting the video out. We want to make sure keep you guys updated on what we're doing as much as we can. So I think next week will be, the beginning of next week's video will end up being the actual gluing process. We have to sand the outsides of the quarters, get them cleaned up really good, hit them with like an 80 grit, put the 3M adhesive on it, and I'll show you guys what all that stuff is next week and all that good stuff. But I think that's going to wrap us up for this week. I know this has been kind of a lot of fabrication back and forth, and we're just trying to do everything the best that we can and make sure we do it right and make sure it functions how we want it to. So we appreciate you guys for watching us do that, and we'll, you know, follow us on social media. We do putting up stuff every day, do all that stuff, and we'll see you next week.